Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, Barakatham. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well, and peace and salutations to your Akim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the Brother Raya with another video, and this is going to be a sit down on how you heathens are going to have job security in the kingdom. There's going to be no more recessions or depressions, because I know a lot of you heathens out there are worried with the way the economy's looking that you're going to lose your jobs and your livelihood. But as I said, I've got good news for you. There's going to be job security in the kingdom, because for the first 1,000 years, you're going to be slaves in hardcore bondage, building up the kingdom and cleaning up the mess you made under the rulership of Esau Edom, the so-called white man, that red Hebrew Edomite. So I'm just going to get straight into it and start it off with Jeremiah 30:16. Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity, slavery, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all they that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. And this is speaking of all you heathen nations that had a part in oppressing the children of Israel, which are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. None of you are going to escape from this coming judgment. And Psalms 83 gives a list of all you heathens. I'm going to start at the top. A song or psalm of Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, all they that spoil thee, all thy adversaries. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Yasharallah may be no more in remembrance, referring to you Israelites as so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, African Americans, spics, niggers, tontos, what have you, anything but what you actually are, the children of Israel. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate or allied against thee. Here's a list of all you heathens that are going to take part in this coming 1,000 years of hardcore bondage and slavery. The tabernacles of Edom, the so-called white man, the red Hebrew Edomite. They have him first because he's been the ringleader in getting you other nations to oppress the Israelites under his rulership. And the Ishmaelites, the so-called Arabs, you had a part in the slave trade as well, building those ships for Esau. Of Moab, the so-called Chinese, and the Hagarenes, another group of Ishmaelites or so-called Arabs. Gebal and Ammon, the so-called Japanese, and Amalek, the top tribe of Esau Edom, those gutter rats posing as so-called Jewish people in the land of Israel right now. The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, you so-called Africans or Hamites. So you see it pretty much covers all of you here. This is Isaiah 14, verse 1 through 2. For Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, and Jacob only, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And those strangers aren't speaking of you other heathen nations. Those are speaking of the Israelites who have woken up to the fact that they are Israelites and have come back to their power, which you see happening every day. New brothers are coming into camps and out there on the highways and byways pushing this word, further pushing out this vibration, further sealing the elect, and further bringing about the return of Yahushua to save his people. Verse 2, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place. Now we're talking about you other heathen nations, as stated in Psalms 83. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh for servants and handmaids, slaves, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Back in Jeremiah 30:16. All they that devoured thee shall be devoured, all thine adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil. And not just that, but once the Israelites have you other heathens in their hands and are putting you in hardcore bondage and slavery, there's going to be no more mocking or coming against us or giving us a dirty eye. You're going to reverence us as the children of the Most High, as it says in Isaiah 60:14. The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and all they that despise thee, that tried to cut us off as a nation and were confederate against us, shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet, and they shall call thee the city of Yahweh, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel. It's going to be no more confusion as to who the children of the Most High are. We're going to be in those glorious bodies and back in our rightful place as the masters of this planet. And for you heathens, it's not going to be a peaceful, hardcore bondage and slavery for you, because all throughout our captivity, you treated us as the lowest of the low, especially you Edomites, shooting Jake in the streets, lynching Jake, keeping Jake from having a job, putting the woman over Jake and his family so she could break it up and come to Big Daddy government to get those government paychecks and create single-parent households. You heathens, especially you Edomites, have a lot to pay for. This is Psalms chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse 6. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion, and I will declare the decree. Yahweh hath said unto me, Thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. And this is speaking of Yahushai HaMashiach, the Son of the Most High Yahweh, whom the world ignorantly refers to as a so-called Jesus Christ. You heathens are in for a rude awakening, because Yahushai is not returning with roses and chocolates to save you heathens. He's returning to put that work to you heathens, and also have his elect side by side with him to help him put that work to you heathens. Verse 8, Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, because we're joint heirs with Yahushai, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. We're going to be beating the crap out of you heathens in the kingdom, especially if you don't want to reverence us. And you'll have a lot of people out there that'll say, oh, this is the Old Testament. It was done away with. Sweet baby Jesus wouldn't do that. He's all about love. Well, I've got a counterpoint to that. This is Revelation, the last book of the Bible in the New Testament, which is Revelation 2, chapter 25 through 27. And this is Yahushua speaking, or so-called Jesus. It's in red letters if you don't believe me. But that which ye have already, hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end. The men out there on the highways and byways pushing this word to make their calling and election sure. To him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. That doesn't sound like anything peaceful or loving to me. Salakia. And what's also beautiful is not only are these lower level heathens going to be put into slavery, but you top elites as well, especially you top elites, such as you Rothschilds, you Rockefellers, you Gettys, you DuPonts, you Saudi Arabian kings and princes, what have you. All you heads of state are going to especially be put into slavery. A lot of you are going to be the first fruits of the kingdom, because a lot of you are going to escape the coming destruction of World War III by being in your underground bunkers, your undersea bases, or your low orbit space stations, and you really think you're going to be safe and come back to the service and rule when the coast is clear. But that's clearly not the case, as we'll see. This is Psalms 149. I'm going to start at verse 1. Praise ye Yahweh. Sing unto Yahweh a new song, and his praise in the congregation of his saints. And the men of the Lord out there singing this new song right now, waking up the Israelites back to their heritage and bringing forth the ending of this final rulership of the heathens, chiefly through Esau, Edom. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king. Let them praise his name in the dance. So that clearly shows that we know what his name is now. For any of you Jakes out there that like to say we don't know what the name is, let them sing praises unto him with the timbrel and harp. For Yahweh hath taken pleasure in his people, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the confusion of face Israelites that will come looking as these other heathen nations. But it all goes back to the spirit. You all go back to the original 12 sons of Israel, not any of these other heathen nations. He will beautify the meek with salvation. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth. And what do we have here? A two-edged sword in their hand, also that rod of iron, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, hardcore bondage and slavery. Again, back in Jeremiah 30 and 16, they that devoured thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity. To bind their kings with chains, the elites, the presidents, the higher-up officials, the rich men, and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh. And you elites as well are going to reverence us by bowing down to our feet. This is Isaiah 49 and 23. And the kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens thy nursing mothers. They shall bow down to thee with their faces toward the earth, and lick up the dust of thy feet. And thou shalt know that I am Yahweh, for they shall not be ashamed that wait for me. That's going to be a beautiful sight to behold, to see people such as Jacob Rothschild, or any of those Rockefellers who thought that they were better than everybody, just come down to bow down to the feet of so-called niggers, spics, and tontos and reverence them as the true power. But I'll give you heathens a little bit of hope. After that 1,000 years of hardcore bondage and slavery, you'll be able to return back to your lands, but you'll be under our subjection and under our laws. And as it says in Zechariah chapter 14 through verse 16 through 19, if you don't reverence us or keep our holy days, we're just going to come and punish you. Verse 16, and it shall come to pass that every one that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem, go back to Psalms 83 to see how all these heathens had a part in our captivity and oppression, shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles, to keep our high holy days, and also to keep our laws. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. And if the family of Egypt go not up, and come not up, that have no rain, there shall be the plague, wherewith Yahweh will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. This shall be the punishment of Egypt, and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So again, if you heathens don't come up to reverence our holy days, or we find out you heathens are partaking in breaking the law, such as eating pork or committing homosexuality, we're going to send famines, plagues, and pestilences all over you to get you back in order. But with that being said, the only nation of people on the planet Earth that aren't going to be able to return back to their lands and live under our laws are you Edomites, or you so-called white people, the red Hebrew Edomites. After that 1,000 years of hardcore bondage and slavery, you're going to be completely eradicated from the face of the earth. And a lot of brothers have been doing responses to that video, those two Edomites talking about how the Most High doesn't really hate Esau, but if you have an understanding of the scriptures, you'll know that that's clearly not the case. The Most High has indignation forever against you Edomites.